Hello, 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 friends. If you can hear me, if you could just drop it in the chat. Oh, let's see. Awesome. Thank you. Sweet. We have quite a few people actually on this or signed up for this and registered for this webinar, but we'll wait. Sometimes people like to hop on late, including myself sometimes. So need to get better at that one. So I'll give them a couple more minutes. Mute myself for a second, just make sure everything's working on the technical side. All right, welcome, 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 everybody. I'm going to get started in just a couple minutes here. We had about 30 people sign up. They might just be waiting for the recording, which is fine. But why don't we do this? Just introduce yourself in the chat by just saying hi, what your name is, and what is it that you do for a living? What are you? Are you a coach? Are you an acupuncturist? I have a lot of those. Are you a breath worker? And go ahead and share that in the chat if you feel comfortable doing so. Maybe you're like all of those things. Some of you guys are super talented. All right. Awesome. So right now we have Erica, we have Britlin and Lita. Is Britlin, did I say that your name correctly? Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay. So since this is recorded, I'm not going to make you guys wait who were timely. We'll just send the recording out or let people catch up. First of all, thank you for taking the time. You know, time to me is super valuable. My brand new son is just sleeping and snoozing with my friend slash babysitter right now, so I could do this with you guys. And I can't wait to get back with him, but I am super, super excited to be here. Building my business was one of the most amazing things I've ever done, especially in the holistic space. And I've just really realized that people need a lot of help on the business side, on the strategy side, and those skill sets don't come super easily to someone whose main focus has been something very different for the past several years, either in training for that or just even executing the healing part as a practitioner, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. And you guys let me know if you can see it okay. I'm trying to figure out how to pull up my chat. There we go. They keep changing Zoom, so I haven't like it's always in like a different spot every time I revisit Zoom. Okay, where's my chat? There we go. Awesome, awesome. Okay. So I am Dr. Monica Foytzik. I am a licensed acupuncturist and a doctor now of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. I went back. They just started doing this transitional doctorate program with the master's that we originally got when I had graduated 8 years ago already. My goodness, time flies. And so since then, I've been able to build a 6-figure practice here in San Diego, California. I'm not sure if all of you guys are in San Diego. I'm also a teacher. I've taught Japanese style acupuncture courses at the college in San Diego, Pacific College of Health Sciences, as well as some workshops to support the community. And through that teaching, I've really learned there's this really big need for the business side, for the coaching side. And so it was really by need that I decided to step into this space. And so I've done some one-on-one coaching, as well as received coaching myself. And I'll get to that in a little bit. I'm a huge advocate for all people's businesses, family businesses, but especially women's businesses. I've actually put on massive women's events in the past. I also love supporting sustainable lifestyles. And what I mean by that is lifestyles where you're not always chasing the money, right? Living paycheck to paycheck, or just sometimes like haphazard burnout because you're kind of doing what you think you're supposed to do in your field. So I like to find creative or even logical ways sometimes of really living the life and like streamlining things as well as incorporating things. Maybe you like to take a dance class once a week or every day or take a walk on the beach. And sometimes we have made ourselves get into a space where we're working, trying to chase something that we haven't fully figured out and end up unfortunately living a life that's kind of wearing us down, right? I'm also, I forgot, I'm the mommy of baby Leo, and I was going to put a cute little photo of him in here, but I didn't get to. So a little bit about my backstory. I actually have a background prior to my master's and doctorate in journalism. I went to San Diego State. We were just laughing because it's been almost 20 years since I started my first degree, which is insane. Like time just flies. And I'm not sure if any of you guys are along those same lines, but time does fly. So started my bachelor's at San Diego State. And I was very interested in publishing and journalism and all those things. But what I really realized, and I'm sure today, news media, as you guys all know, is just scary out there, right? Sometimes I don't even listen to the news, to be honest. I try to only check in when it's super important. Not that I try to be ignorant either, but I think a lot of negative, it can create a very negative mindset if that's all you listen to, right? So I really already 20 years ago started having that idea and ended up discontinuing my work in journalism. But I knew the skills of being able to interview people, being able to write well, communicate well, were going to come in really handy for whatever I do next. So, and I have to say that's very, very true. Amidst this time, I was actually working as both a professional dancer as well as I was working in a nightclub as a bartender, which San Diego nightlife's kind of crazy. It was kind of like not just a bartending job. This job required me to do a lot of self-marketing. So I picked up a lot of marketing tips and tricks along the way, believe it or not, which I've incorporated into my business and I actually teach. But it's just been an amazing ride being able to start there and be able to come to where I'm at today, right? So when I first got my license, I was super excited. I kind of went 2 feet, just jumped off a platform and grew some wings down. I wanted to just start my own space. I was super into it. So excited to be an acupuncturist, so excited to be out of school. And I was ready to make money that I made a lot of mistakes, a lot of mistakes. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mistakes are how you fail forward. But from those mistakes, I've learned a lot. And I'd like to really pass down that knowledge as best as I can so that hopefully my mistakes become things that you just breeze over. And then the other mistakes you make are just ways to keep up leveling both your businesses, your practices, and your lives. Okay. So I started in 2015 with my small little practice. I was just renting space from someone where I didn't really have a dedicated room. It was like $300-400. And eventually I worked myself up into different spaces. I wasn't never charging enough because I think all of us at some point in our life don't realize that we are worth in our professions and the skill sets we can offer people. We're worth it. And we can charge not something unfair, but definitely what are you offering? And does that meet your price point? Right. And that's something I really, really teach and coach on. Okay. So I was doing this over and over again. I still had to work that second job as the bartender, and I was burnt out. There was days, I mean, I could barely get out of bed on Sundays. I mean, if I wasn't even working on a Sunday, it was like definitely 6 days a week, grinding and grinding and grinding, and it just didn't seem to stop. And it did finally come to a halt, with the shutdowns we experienced in 2020. And finally, I was like, I had time to be like, what is it that I'm doing? Amidst this time as well, I had entered a business coaching program. I was planning on making an online business just like this. And I learned a lot. I was not ready to execute that online business. What I realized is that I needed to fix a lot of things in my in-person practice because that's what I love to do. And that's how I was helping people and comfortable helping people. So I hired a business coach. I hired an amazing business coach that helped me literally take some strategies, some very simple strategies. And over 90 days, I was able to go from my struggling 5-figure practice to a 6-figure practice. And that's some of the things that I want to talk to you guys about today. What did Monica do to take her 5-figure practice, stop making those silly mistakes that I was making, and get to 6 figures? So we're going the wrong way. So I wanted to add some fun things in here because I know talking about business can be really lame, and maybe even listening to my story can be really lame. Just kidding. But what first timers think acupuncture is like versus what it's actually like. And I'm not trying to just focus on acupuncture. I think all holistic spaces, I saw people doing different things, breath work, hypno therapy. The thing is, a lot of people don't know what these things are. There's very little education, even though that is changing. I've seen a rapid change in the last 5 years, a lot of acceptance. But back when I started my practice, it was a lot of education, getting people comfortable getting in the door. And I want to touch on that in a little bit of how I was able to do that and what are some strategies to get them in the door. Okay. And before you kind of dive into everything today, I hope you're taking notes, by the way. So get out a notepad and paper, or if you're more comfortable, digital notes in your phone. I understand that too. But I want you to just focus on 1 or 2 things today that I'm presenting on that you can take and actually take action on. Because if you try to take action on every single thing, I mean, maybe you're an overachiever and I don't want to underestimate you. But if you find yourself in the moment, try to circle 1 or 2 things on that paper of notes and take them with you and execute them soon. Okay. So I wanted to add a little meme in here again. So you're telling me when setting goals, have short-term goals and long-term goals. What does that mean? So I teach a lot of my clients about vision, long-term vision. So something that we would do is we'd not sit down, but I'd send them a form and educate them on how to set a vision. Okay. Vision is really important because if you don't have a sense of where you're going, you're going to kind of go in a bunch of different directions, and it's going to be a lot of unintentional action that can lead to a lot of unintentional mistakes. Okay. So we want to start with maybe a 5-year set of goals, maybe even a 10-year set of goals. What is the bigger picture? When my coach sat down with me, one of my 5-year goals was to have a family. I wanted to have a child. And so sometimes when you have a goal like that, you can't have a million other goals. I couldn't also travel, for 60 days in Europe and come back and have nothing to come back to and then start a family. So, I mean, that's not even something I was thinking about, but you know what I mean? Your goals have to kind of align with each other. So being able to really look at that, and not that you can't have all those types of goals, but maybe you spread those out over 10 years and have a plan of when to execute or start one of those into completion. So in order to kind of jumpstart these goals, I always try to assist people with the 90-day run or 90-day sprint. So it takes about 21 to 30 days to form a habit. Okay. And businesses really, big business especially, but all businesses should analyze their business on quarterly increments. And these increments, or about 90 days, help you alter your goals as you move. So, in order to do that, how do you execute those? I want you to create weekly actionable goals and then daily actionable goals. What I see a lot in entrepreneurship is I can sit down with someone or have a virtual one on one with them, and they have all these great ideas. And that's a lot of talking, but how do they put those ideas to action? I used to be one of these people. I used to talk with a mentor, blah, blah, blah on the phone. I have so much excitement. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And when it came to actually doing them, I was really struggling on taking action. So by breaking it down into weekly increments of things you should do, maybe that's 1 or 2 actions per week, and then a daily action. I'll give you an example. Maybe social media is something you want to start improving upon, because social media, I consider it more of a resume, not so much a way of draw people in unless you're doing ads, or maybe you already have a community. It depends on the person. Social media is kind of a tricky thing there. But you might want to start having 1 or 2 weekly posts a week. And you say Tuesday's a post, Thursday's a post. And there's more information on that. But weekly actionable goal for you to complete. If you get past that week and you haven't finished it by Sunday, you got to mark it off the list. Okay. And then what's the daily actionable goals? Is it following up with clients? Is it going out to a coffee shop and getting a certain amount of work done? So, however that checklist is, have that daily actionable goal to take action so that you have a path to follow. All right. 4 steps in processing information. So I'm already kind of throwing some things at you that I hope are starting to get the juices flowing on how you're going to take action in the next 90 days to up-level your career and your business. There's 4 levels of learning. And I love learning this because it made a lot of sense to me with everything that I've done and where I was going with some of my skill sets. Okay. So okay, forgive me if I'm wrong, but we've all driven a car or maybe a bike, whatever it is. But I'm going to use the car for the example. So when you're a kid, you kind of see your parents driving, but it takes a while, right? There's this unconscious incompetence. I'm unaware that I can't drive a car. And that's probably before even, like, kids are really smart these days. They do realize that pretty quickly, as I'm seeing. But my son, I don't even think he knows this is when he's in a car. He's 6 months. But probably at 2 years old, he's going to be like, what's mommy and daddy doing in the front seat, right? So then number 2 is conscious incompetence. I'm aware that I can't do this skill, right? And then the third is conscious competence. This is when you get the driver's license, you're learning and you're able to drive, but you kind of have to really exaggerate that turn over the shoulder. You're like, okay, I'm supposed to yield. This is what yielding's like. The amount of pressure you put on the gas pedal or the brake, very conscious. It's almost kind of anxiety driven, moving a skill set that you're moving through. And then eventually, and I'm hoping you're all at this spot now, you become unconsciously competent. You're kind of like, you drove somewhere and you're like, kind of don't remember driving, because it's so back of the hand. It's so second nature to get in a vehicle, start the vehicle, and start hitting the gas pedal, putting in reverse, etc. Right? You're unconsciously competent. So some of these things right now, you might have been either unconsciously incompetent, or you might be at level 2, you're consciously incompetent. And then as we move through it, you're going to find yourself consciously competent. It's still a struggle to do these things. And our goal is to move you from that into the unconscious competence. Okay. I know that seems really a little arbitrary, but it's super important when you're building a skill, because it's easy to forget that it's okay to be a beginner at something. And it's okay to remember that you'll have to start at like level 0 or 1 or maybe 5, but you can and you will get to level 7, 8, 9, 10, right? You get better at these things with your business, with the networking, with marketing, and all those things. So moving on, when you compare your goals and your budget. Okay, so we talked about our goals. I want to make $1 million a year. I want to, whatever it is. Those might be really big goals, but they might not match your budget. So I want to get down to a little bit of nitty gritty here. And I want you to actually spend the time right now to write down those numbers. This can be challenging for some people. There's a lot of money trauma, maybe set up by your culture, maybe set up by your families. I've had one of those families. There's never enough. We got to be tight on our budget. And I had a hard time stretching out my goals because I was so used to hearing I shouldn't, that's not for us, those type of money trauma words and advice. And I really had to learn to grow out of this to hit bigger goals, right? So know your numbers. I want you guys to write down what your business overhead is. Okay. You might not know this. Maybe you are launching a business, but I want you to start figuring out what those costs are. Is there rent, or maybe there's no rent? What's your cell phone or your office phone cost? Do you have any insurance? Do you have materials? Are those materials monthly, or is it something, an asset like a furniture piece that you put into the business? What are those numbers? This will help you during tax time, by the way. And then what are your personal costs and bills? Okay. So I really strongly, if you have not reassessed this in 2022, maybe you haven't even done this in the last 5 years, I had a really hard time attacking this because this gives me a lot of anxiety. But the more that you do this, you have a better idea of what kind of money you can bring in, what do you need to bring in, and what to set your services at, and how much you need to work per week to hit some of these numbers if that is your true goal and your main goal, right? So maybe your business overhead is $2,000. That's rent and all those other expenses, supplies, etc. And let's say your personal costs are 3,000. This is your basic costs plus groceries and gas, right? You want to consider taxes, and we'll get back to that. Do you want to save and invest? So this is something, maybe if you're just starting out, not as realistic in your first year, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. So if you're not even hitting those overheads, maybe start that being your first goal and then reassess that goal in 6 months to a year. Okay, because it wouldn't be fair for me if you're only making 2,000 a month to say let's shoot it up to 10,000. That would be unrealistic, right? You never know. Some of these things might change it. And I want you to keep reevaluating, reassessing, and re-strategizing these goals. So saving and investing, maybe you are at that point, you've been working for 5 years. You're like, I gotta add it in, Monica. Okay. So saving and investing, let's say we want another $1,000 for that per month. And maybe you have some other goals to travel. Maybe you're saving up for a family. Okay, so you might hear a baby in the background, real life. So travel and family, let's say that's another $1,000 a month. So right now we're at 5, 6, 7,000 a month. And I want you guys to add 20% on that or 25% on that to prepare you for taxes. A lot of those business overhead costs will be tax write-off. But depending on how you structure your business, and what's great, and I'll share with you guys in a bit about a program that I do, that we can educate ourselves on how to best fit yourself in the right tax formation, right? Business formation. So let's say that would be around 9,000 to 10,000, but we'll just round it up 10,000. So how many clients you have to see a week per month at your price point to hit this number? So some of you might be saying, let's say 10 clients a week, and you charge only $100. Okay. So you're making 1,000 a week. Let's say let's hit low ball at 4 weeks in a month, even though it's like 4.2. And you're going to be making 4,000, right? So if you're trying to hit 10,000, that's not going to cut it. So there's a few things that need to change. You need to alter your service and pricing, and you need to start getting more clients, right? And this might be affected by the time available in your space, right? Because I know some of you maybe rent only for 2 days. So some of this might need to adjust, right? So if you only have 10 hours in your space, hypothetically, 2 days a week, you're really going to have to keep upping your price for your service Or you're going to have to try to find that window where you open a third day a week, if that's for you. Maybe you're doing something else. Maybe you're a mom, maybe you're going to school still. You'll have to find when that window is, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel when you can start making those changes, and you have to be prepared for them instead of hitting that moment and being like, oh, I don't know what to do. Okay. So depending on your service, maybe you need to start charging, let's say, so we take the 10,000 and let's say that's 40 clients a week. Oops. I can touch buttons on a phone. Okay. So let's say we're still only doing 40 clients a month and you want to make 10,000, you really got to start charging $250 a client. Maybe that's unrealistic for you. I know for some acupuncturists, that's like, I couldn't charge $250. It doesn't make sense in my market. You know, that's not going to work. They're not going to come to me. Okay. So maybe you have to start seeing more clients than 10 a week. So let's say we change your marketing strategies, your client retention strategies, and we start seeing 70 clients a month. That's about 17.5 a week. That's not impossible. I usually average, when I'm working a full-time practice, around 20 to 25 clients. Okay. And that's not working weekends. I didn't work super, super late with that. I worked like 4.5 days a week. Usually I get to the office around 8:39 to prep, and I'm home by 6 or 7, right? Or maybe around 7. Not too bad, right? So that will come out to like 142.86. So let's say 145. So a strategy that would be more realistic, maybe for someone else, would be to figure out how to raise your prices to 145. And this is average. Sometimes you guys have variable services. Maybe one of your services 90 minutes, and a lot of people like to do the 90 minutes. Maybe your new client service is $250, right? So that this can be an average, but your average needs to be 145, and you need to see an average of 17.5 clients a week. Okay. So know your numbers, and this might need some one-on-one work. I totally get it, but just starting out with this place where you're seeing, okay, this is my goal, this is my price point, and this is how many people I see a week. Because when I opened my doors, it was like, okay, I guess I could see 6 people on this day, 3 on this, I think I'm just going to start at $85. I had no sense of direction, and that led to a very unintentional result. I was just kind of breaking even, maybe bringing home 1,000, and really having to rely on my other job to fulfill my income needs, right? Don't be me 8 years ago. Okay, I also want to talk to you about something called perceived value. So when I talk about your price point, I really like this Warren Buffett quote: price is what you pay, value is what you get. So how is your brand, how are you perceived by your potential and existing customers? Sometimes what you think you are and they think you are is completely different. But something I found when I raised my prices, and I have to say, when I raised my prices, not only was I really working to have the skill set to offer them a valuable session and experience, but I made sure to keep working on that skill, right? So with that said, I was definitely offering something and then continuing to offer on the value I gave them. Okay. And then when I was able to ask for the price point that I needed to reach my financial goals, I was able to have like the energy, right? Because sometimes when you're chasing the money and you're not getting it, you're so drained. So something happened where I raised that price point. I made the money, I hit those 6-figure numbers, and I was able to breathe and like reassessing how I was offering my patients what they needed. Okay. So let that soak in a little bit. And so I want to insist, even though I'm talking a lot about the business side, continue. And I know for some of you guys who have licenses, you do have to do something where you have continuing education. But if you don't, I highly recommend that you improve your skill set through continuing education in your field or like fields. So for example, I did a lot of continuing education, but I also did a lot of work getting my Reiki masters and doing different type of energy work. I've worked with naturopathic doctors to stay educated in that field because it keeps me aligned with my patient, because I'm suggesting to go to them and I have some immediate suggestions and information and knowledge that I can offer them. So what sets you apart and how do you represent your field? Okay. So before I keep going, does anyone have any questions? Okay, cool. Moving on. All right. Mindset. So a lot of people might assume that the coaching that I do is purely mindset. Some of it is, but some of it is actual tangible stuff. And I'll share that with you guys in a bit. We might already be experiencing that on this call. But there's things that I really started to shift prior to hitting a 6-figure practice. And that really was my mindset. I used to have a lot of negative thinking. I used to say that I was so negative, I could, like, I'm blanking out on the terminology, postpartum brain, but I could, what is it? Develop in a dark room. There it is. Film, develop in a dark room. Haha, bad dad joke. So my negative mindset, which is always like, I never had enough. I would say these very just not positive words to myself every single day. And that's what came to me. That scarcity money, the wrong relationship, having bad days, that kept coming to me. And if you don't rewrite that story for yourself, if you don't continue to fill your mind with positive thinking and good information, even surrounding yourself with a positive environment, you're going to keep getting the same results, right? I know you guys might have heard that from other people. So something I want you guys to practice, just to leave you something from this calls, and I want you to write this down, and I want you to write this phrase down wherever you can see it. Is it on your computer? Is it on the screen of your phone, home screen? This was something that really started to shift my abundance mindset when I was having scarcity, right? So I want you to repeat after me and write this, and you don't have to put your sound on, just say it to yourself. No one's listening. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm earning, and whatever your goal is based on those numbers, and maybe you haven't written out, so just say something somewhat realistic, but something unrealistic is what I like to say. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm earning $10,000 a month and helping my clients or patients become happier and healthier every day by January 2nd, 2024. This is your 90-day date from today. I hope you guys are able to take some of the things I said, put them in actionable weekly and daily items to mark off and complete and hit this goal, whatever it might be, in the next 90 days. And here's the thing. Sometimes you won't actually hit this goal. You might do everything and not hit 10,000, but you know what? You probably aren't going to be stuck at 4,000. You're going to be like, I'm making 6 this time in this 90 days. I'm moving the trajectory in the right direction. Reassess some of those 90-day plans, right? And redo those weekly and daily actionable items in the next 90 days. And maybe you'll hit that number. Okay. So your other mindset challenge is also going to be to listen to this audio. You can get it on Spotify for free. I Am Abundant by Jess Shepard. Actually, one of the people on this call is the one that introduced this to me a few years ago when I was struggling with that lack of abundance mindset. So this is something I listened to actually at nighttime on a very low sound level. So it wasn't waking me up or anything, but it was just trying to reprogram my subliminal mind. Okay, I listened to it nightly for at least 30 days. I can't remember if I went over that, but at least 30 days. I challenge you, maybe 90, if you're setting these 90-day goals, to listen to it every single night, or maybe listen to it in the shower. But you have to do something daily to keep fueling like any negative thoughts. I'm not enough. I don't know enough. I'm not good at this. You have to work at reprogramming some of these things that you're telling yourself. And I promise you change will start to happen. All right. So how you arrive for your first acupuncture appointment. So whenever you have had a client or trying to get a new prospective client, it's kind of like pulling teeth sometimes, right? A little bit of education. There seems to be like this, yeah, that sounds great. And maybe they're just like saying nice things to you, but they actually don't get on your books as a client. But then once you get them in, you realize, wow, they're just like, and the joke is, you kind of lay there uncomfortably getting your first acupuncture appointment, but then they're just like laying down comfortably, like Dwight is right there from the office, like, give me what you got. I love what you do. And so some of you might have some of that same experience, right? So I want to talk a little bit about how to move past that obstacle. What does it take? So finding new clients, okay, isn't only about creating a sale. It isn't about going, hi, I'm a breath worker. Hi, I'm a nutritionist. Hi, I'm an acupuncturist. Let me show you how. Come sign up with me and pay me money to show you what I do. That's not really how it works. And I know most of you probably know this. So I want to talk about something that can be a little cringy to some people. It's called networking. So networking doesn't have to be network marketing. It doesn't have to be purely sales. It's simply having strategies when you connect with people. You can connect with people at the coffee shop. You can connect with people in your yoga class. You can connect with people in your other classes. There's different places, right? So one of the key principles that I really like to teach people when they're starting to network, this might get you out of your comfort zone, and maybe this is something you really don't like to do, but it's just simply asking questions. A lot of times we get so excited about what we do, we tend to talk, and we don't even bother to get to know a potential client, a potential prospect, a potential patient, right? So number one, ask questions, okay? Ask questions about them. What do they do? Where are they from? And you'll find that as you ask questions, that people are going to reveal problems. They're going to reveal something that you might have a solution to. And in that same process, there's the art of reciprocation. Gosh, I know how that feels. I experienced the same thing. Then I started getting acupuncture. Funny thing, I'm an acupuncturist now. So, I mean, that's being silly. And I hope you don't, maybe it works for that person. You never know. But there's ways to reveal that problem and be a potential solution for that person. And that's how sales and networking works. Okay. And I know sales is like an icky word to some people, but in all aspects of life, we truly are selling. And the better you get at the skill in a very endearing, positive, loving way, as the holistic field is, you'll find that you will attract the right people by executing networking in this way, by executing sales in this way. Always share stories, not facts. So I hope that none of my other acupuncturists goes, when the needle it sends this like signal to the brain and these epinephrine and all these things are getting released and blah, 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 blah. Do not go into that unless that is the type of personality type. And that's something else I teach later. But sharing stories about, this is what happened to a friend of mine. This is what happened to me. Your story is always the most important story. So my story, right? I had back pain. I was a professional dancer. I tried everything and it just didn't seem to work. Then I went to acupuncture and I had 90% plus relief. Oh my gosh, it blew my mind so much that I went into the field, right? I would spend a little more time telling a story one-on-one, but that's a pretty powerful story. So much that I changed my career, right? So share stories, not facts. Okay. Places to network, community groups, athletic facilities, professional groups, social gatherings. Social media is actually a way to network, but you have to be very active. So if you have an aversion to that, that's okay. There's different ways to network. And when we went back to those numbers, right? Say you had to see 70 people a month. Some of those people are repetitive clients. Some people see you once a week, right? So how many clients do you really need to fill that schedule? Not that many not as many as you think. So networking could be something that's an everlasting, has an everlasting result. Okay. Sorry, having a little bit of mom brain today if I'm misspeaking. All right. effective prospecting. What is prospecting? This is just a way to identify leads. They become prospects. Oh, this person has back pain. I want to get them in my practice and on my table. That is my customer, right? Ooh, this person has a trauma that they're working through. They become a prospect. Ooh, breath work might be the answer for them, right? So here are some things that you can add into that prospecting, excuse me. You need to create an elevator pitch. This is something I teach. We don't have enough time to go over today. I'm going to try to keep this to an hour. How to ask questions. There's very specific questions that you can ask to help kind of get to this space. I kind of touched on them in the last slide. Identifying and mirroring personality types. Personality types is huge. There's usually 4 main personality types, and the more of a chameleon you can be, and the more you can identify their personality type and mirror it, right? If they're more of a go-getter and you're like, oh, I'm a healer, they're probably not going to identify with you too much. So you have to find a way to mirror that personality to bring them in and make them feel comfortable. How do you build trust, right? How are you building trust? Another thing is effective follow-up. Okay, how are you following up with this person? Someone might show interest, but you never exchanged a phone number, or you exchange it and never text them. Sometimes people get busy or forget they had a conversation. You got to text them again, or maybe shoot them a call, or follow them on social media. There's so many ways to connect with people these days. If you're dropping the ball on someone that might come in once a week for the next 10 years, that's a lot of money that they're spending potentially with you, right? So treat each person as such. Cross referrals are great. If you're not working with someone who can be a very complementary type of holistic healer, then you're missing out. Okay, because I find that, well, especially from my end, I love to refer out of my practice. I don't need to treat everybody. And especially right now, I'm not treating a lot of people, right? I'm spending my time being mama and building business coaching, right? So instead, I'd rather refer out. And those people that have chosen to work with me and show me what they got, I mean, I'm sending them referral after referral, right? And vice versa. I've had amazing either patients or maybe chiropractors that send me amazing patients because they knew and believed in what I did, because I took the time to build that relationship. Okay. So I just want to see how you guys are doing. If this is resonating with you at all, I want to make sure I'm not speaking to a dead room. Type in 111 in the chat. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, cool. Yay, yay, yay. I appreciate you guys understanding my mom brain. I'm like, what did I just say? Okay. I don't know who you are, but would you like to buy a car? So just circling back, I really feel like this is how people approach sales, like this cold lead, right? It doesn't have to be that. This is relationship building. That's truly what sales and networking is. And it can be really fun and exciting, especially if you work with people. The more comfortable you can get with that, then you're working with them and you're already building a relationship. A lot of the time, I do a lot of assessments when I work with people, both in my practice as well as, my coaching practice. But I'm already kind of getting that information as I build a relationship with someone, right? I'm asking those questions. And I also want you guys to remember the timing isn't always right. This was a huge thing I learned over the years. There are people that I told I was doing acupuncture 8 years ago that took 5+ years to make their way through the doors of my practice. 5 years, knowing that I had this skill. And then they waited that long because the timing wasn't right for them. It wasn't even a lack of trust for me. It wasn't uncertainty. It was like, I just wasn't ready. I didn't have back pain back then, but now I do. And I know you do this. And so by doing all of these different skills that I teach, I was able to draw in those people eventually when the timing was right. I call it the 12 o'clock principle. Okay. When you are actively prospecting, if you're someone who actively needs clients or patients, ask permission to stay connected. Keep a running list and revisit that list frequently. I'm like, is it okay if I check in with you in the next 3 months? So that's another way to really kind of, someone can be interested, but it's just, maybe they don't have, a lot of people don't like to talk about money. They're like, I don't have the budget for this type of healing work. But sometimes people get their ducks in a row, and 3 months later, 6 months later, 5 years later, they're like, yes, I want this now. Okay, so always keep that door open. Don't take it personally. A no doesn't always mean that no, it means not right now. Okay. All right. And I like to remember this. It's just, you really got to soak in that it's not you feeling, right? Some will, some won't, some wait somewhere, six will, so what? Someone's waiting. So a lot of times if you get so torn up over someone telling you, no, I don't want to be your patient, I don't want to be your client, the truth is you've kind of wasted all the energy there when someone's actually out there waiting. Someone that's a more, I call it ideal client type. Okay. And that's super, super, super important. Okay. I want to go into something gushy to really help get you guys some clients. This is a strategy I use over and over again to do a lot of different sales. Whether it's getting clients. So my first week in practice was actually booked because I learned this technique like 10 years ago. Okay. And so that wasn't I had problems in other areas, but this is something I learned how to do. And every time I redo it, man, I'm like, phew, if I had a slow week and I hit this later and I'm like, I could have had a plenty full week if I just went back in and did a little prospecting, right? So I want you guys, and you can play with this. This doesn't have to be your exact message, but I want you to start going through your phone. And as long as you're comfortable texting that person, you don't need to text your exes, nothing like that. But I want you to start really presenting your business to your clients or to your family and your community and your friends. Okay. So hi, my name's Monica. I just opened my own acupuncture business and I'm excited to help others. Okay. I wanted to reach out to see if you'd like to schedule a session with me. If not, no worries. If you know anyone else that might need my services, please let me know. So there's a really key piece of information in there. It's no worries. If you know anyone else that might need my services, let me know. I can't tell you how many of my community friends, they were actually super needle phobic. So they didn't want to come to me, but they really cheered me on. And so they sent other people to come be my clients. And then those people sent people to be my clients. And that's how I grew my practice. Okay. So if you're not comfortable with just sending the cold text, another strategy is just to say, hi, how are you? Let them respond. I just want to see. And if they do respond, then kind of continue with this message. Okay. So write this down, take a snapshot. I challenge you, if you're in this stage where your business is open and you're needing clients, go ahead and make sure you send this out. My simple strategy is to do about 10 to 20 of these text messages each week. Okay. Each week for maybe a month, each week for 90 days. Because if you do 100, I mean, maybe you're gangster and you can just on your phone, but sometimes that can be overwhelming because you will get a response. Expect about a 10% return on this. A lot of people see a message and they're kind of like, I don't know if I want to answer right now. I'm super busy. It's not that they are not supportive. Again, like I'll send a message and sometimes 2 weeks later, the person will respond. It's just people are busy. Okay. The other response I get though is, oh my gosh, I've been really needing acupuncture. Just haven't been getting around to figuring it out how to schedule appointments. So thank you. How do I schedule? I actually get more enthusiasm than negative response. And I can almost guarantee that you guys will too. Hold on one second, you guys. Okay, awesome. Let's keep moving on. Another thing I get is relocation. Okay, so if you've relocated, this can be a little tricky, but I want to say the world is super diverse now. So a lot of people say you just moved to San Diego. People know people in San Diego, right? So, hi, my name is Monica. I just reopened my doors in San Diego. I'm excited to serve my new community. And I wanted to reach out to see if you knew anyone in the area that you can send my way. This one might need more than 10 a week, especially if you're just opening the doors and really trying to get some traffic through there. Okay. Snapshot this, write this down. And again, it doesn't have to be word for word. It just has to be a very simple, try not to send a paragraph, right? People see paragraphs and I just I'll answer that later and I probably don't get back to it unless it's someone I really care about, right? So keep it really short and simple and add it to that actionable, that 90-day game plan. I'm telling you, There's been times where I've seen a not very busy next week schedule. I did this, and that next week, I mean, at least add 5 to 10 patients onto my schedule and fill those slots. And then sometimes it starts to turn into 2 weeks full. So it's a very, very good strategy. Any questions on that before I move on? Going once, going twice. Okay. And so sorry, guys. This is supposed to be a sound muting. I hope the sound in the background wasn't too loud. If you need me to repeat anything, I'm more than happy to. Okay. All right. The reality. It's easy to do and it's easy not to do. Okay. This was me. There was a lot of things I knew I should do, but I needed a business coach to really, hey, Monica, are you in there? Just do it. I know it sounds super silly, but sometimes we're our own worst enemies and we need that extra backing to up level us. Okay. So I want to go in right now. If you got value from this call and you're ready to hop off, totally cool. But if you want to kind of see other services I provide to kind of help you up level your business, you're more than welcome to stick around. So please feel free to message me or email me rather at info@drmonicacoaching.com. I would love to work together if this resonates with you at all. Okay. And there's 2 ways primarily to work with me. I have a 6-month coaching program called Practice Prosperity. I'm going to go through that. I want to be very transparent for those. I think there's quite a few people that are interested in seeing what's included in it. And I also offer one-on-one virtual coaching. Okay, so I'm going to switch. I'm going to stop sharing here. And I'm going to open a new screen. Okay. Type in a 777 if you guys can see the screen okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for participating. All right. So for the coaching program, we're going to do a preview here. This coaching program comes with a few different things. First of all, there's self-paced modules. As someone who was like beyond busy, like working 6 days a week, I couldn't show up on a call every single night of the week, right? I couldn't meet with someone consistently. I had to focus on my business. I had to be present in my business for the clients that were signed up with me, right? Were in my practice or in my program. So I want to make this something that you can tackle. However, if you sign up, I will be like, hey, have you started? What can I do to get you to get it done? When can you put it on your schedule? And it doesn't need to be right now, but we need to figure out when you can do it. Because I don't like to have investments get thrown out the window, right? So we have multiple modules. The modules that are available right now are module 0. This is an introduction. It will teach you how to get started, how to navigate the course and community, which I'll show you. So you get the community with it. Module 1 is my most important module to start with, truly, because this is the assessment and the self-evaluation and awareness. So I actually want to show you some of the ways that I evaluate clients. Here it is. As I rate you on your skills, or excuse me, I have you rate yourself on your skills and offer me some input on that, because that's going to trigger some information, right? Financial management, you're like, ooh, that's like 1, Monica. This is something I've never really had to do a budget. I've never been able to manage cash flow. Just money comes in and out of my account. And yep, you're speaking my mind right now. Or maybe it's communication, how you talk to clients. I get really nervous. Something I don't know how to ask questions. I don't know what questions to ask. So this is going to help me kind of target your need, right? Where do you need it? Where can we focus on? Where do we kind of have to, we can just breeze over this information. Some of you guys are great leaders, right? You're great leaders in your field. You have clear direction in your business, but you need to work on some of the other things. So through this, I'm able to offer a lot of great one-on-one advice via email. So another thing I do is once people fill out these forms, which really guide the program, We do one-on-one work and we come up with a plan via email, because here's the thing, how many times can you hop on a Zoom with someone or a call, right? It's easier to just have it in writing, have it in email. And obviously if problems come up, there might be another step to do that. And we'll talk about what else is offered, so you do get some live work as well. But that's how I work in the onset of the program, is I really want you to rate yourself. I do a quick assessment, and that way we can get some really actionable items going, so you can start seeing these changes in your business or launching your business or practice. Okay. So mindset and vision, we're going to talk similar to what you did today. I gave you a little glimpse of that 90-day run, but I really talk about it in more detail, more depth about creating a vision. I want to look at your vision and goals and make sure that we're on the same page and offer any suggestions that I think would be powerful. We do more mindset work. If this is something you're not already doing, maybe reading a few books, maybe listening to a few audios in the car on your commute to work, or while you're showering, however you can fit it in. I used to be a very busy person, and learning to fit it in ideal time slots was something that was really great for me. I really didn't have time to sit and read multiple books back then. Okay. We want to talk about your business launch and relaunch. There's going to be a few more things added to this, but there's some main tidbits that we can work on already. Developing your brand if you haven't already, creating a memorable name. Sometimes people don't have their brand name. Defining your niche is super important. Creating your website. And sorry, for example, you'll open this up, you'll get some information here. And if there is, let's go back actually. If there is something to download, you'll be able to download the PDF here. Print it out. I highly recommend printing and writing things out. But a lot of these, I'm actually going to transition them into fillable forms if you prefer to keep everything digital. Okay, totally understand that. I just personally think writing is very tangible, helps me get some information out, but everybody's different, and that's okay. That's why there is the skill assessment form. So I'm not treating you like the same person. Okay. Let's see. Going back. Okay, so we are at business launch. Then we go into the nitty gritty. So I gave you a little bit of a tidbit of how to create a pricing structure, but through this, I really take a look at your services, how you're presenting them, what a client might look at, and help kind of detail one by one, make sure we're on the same page with your pricing. When can we potentially adjust that pricing? Because sometimes we can't jump from $100 to $250, right? We got to go in increments, okay, if it makes sense. Or change the way that you're marketing it so that maybe you're giving this 90-minute session for only $100 and you're like working yourself to the bone. We got to reconfigure out how you're marketing this service so that we can make sure you're being paid fairly on it. Okay, budgeting, taxes, and financial resources. Again, we talked a little bit about that, but I am actually going to bring on different professionals. So we have the modules, you have one-on-one email support with me, okay, where we're going to do some analysis of some of these forms to give you some very unique plans and strategies for your business. Okay. And then we're also going to bring on some professionals. The few professionals I already have on the roster is a tax professional that specializes in holistic businesses to educate you about write-offs, maybe the structure of your business that is your business structure, so that is the most profitable. Okay, I also have a financial investor, financial planner coming on that really likes to educate on IRAs, Roths, and different things. You might not be there yet, but it's good to be educated on where you're going so that you can know, like, what would I really put aside each week or each month, and add that into as I'm re-strategizing my budget and my projected goals. I want to make sure I have it. So I'm building out retirement. I'm building out a fund for my children's college. Okay. A lot of times it's like so overwhelming to think about that. We don't know who to ask and who to talk to. So I'm hoping she can be a resource for all of you guys. Okay. We're going to talk about free and paid marketing strategies. I actually do a little bit more live texting those messages. Okay. And then there's obviously paid marketing opportunities, and we help try to match which opportunities make the most sense with your business and your offerings. Okay. So they're not throwing away money to marketing, because sometimes marketing can get really expensive. And if you only need a certain amount of clients, it doesn't make sense maybe to spend 10 grand a year on marketing, because the return just doesn't make sense. Okay. Community networking, I talked a little bit about that, but I really teach people strategies to just better build relationships. That's truly what it is, better build relationships. And it's funny because now it's so natural for me. I'll go into a new community and be shocked a little bit, but not shocked, that people want to come and work with me. Okay, so that's something, that's a skill I built. It was not like that in the beginning. People did not want to work with me. They're like this young, weird child doing acupuncture or whatever else I was doing, right? This is a skill I had to build, a muscle I had to build. Okay, maximizing profits. So ways to offer either some other type of service or product and how to start making more profits. Okay, so if you kind of hit the cap on your business with, I can only see so many clients, I can't really adjust my prices anymore, what are some other ways to kind of create add-ons or reach a different type of community to build more profit? And self-care and spirituality, I always like to educate on ways, and I might invite some people on here too, to help with some self-care strategies to kind of really improve that mindset, improve the way you feel. Some of us already have those things, but sometimes like we just don't even schedule that time into our day. So it's super, super important. Okay. And then finally, once we're near the end of the 6 months in this coaching program, I want to make sure that you are happy, that you are living your prosperity. Okay. So if you are living the way, the days that you want to, you don't feel drained by clients or patients, and you are indeed moving in that direction, then great. Then if you're not, we might have to reassess those goals and switch things up. Okay, so that last module is really there to help support that. Okay, so let's go back to, let me show you really quick. Last little tidbit in this is I do have a community that you will add into right now. I'm adding all the new members in. So the most important thing, not only is that there is a feed where you can communicate, but I want you to really schedule in these meetups. So we do have group mastermind coaching. So we will do live coaching similar to this, but it will be quite a bit more interactive, especially if you're bringing all those forms into this to discuss any questions you have. Sometimes we'll have some of those professionals come in on either these masterminds, or I'll do bonus masterminds if they're a little more specialized and maybe only feed to a few different clients on the course. But we have them twice a month. I try to do one Monday evening, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I try to do in the specific standard time. And I try to do one Saturday morning, 10 to 12. And again, if you can't make it, it is going to be recorded and you will be able to watch it later. You could always submit any questions you have to me, so that way it can be answered and addressed. And obviously I can help support you in the background if something gets missed, right? And they will be then uploaded onto our course. Okay, so that is the gist of that. Let me go back and let's go back to this right here. Here we are. So big questions. How much does it cost? What's the investment? Okay, so fortunately or unfortunately, my business coaching program was about $10,000. I am not doing that to you guys. I was in a place where I thought that investment really met the goals that I wanted to hit. Okay. So I'll start with the virtual coaching. If you're not really a program person, you don't really like the idea of working kind of at your own pace, you kind of just want bam, 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 let's do 90 minutes face to face with Monica. We do $300 for 90 minutes. Okay. If this works for you, great. Reach out to me and we'll book that. Okay. If you want the program, okay, and I'm just relisting the things that are available. You have 6-month access, okay? You have the self-paced modules. These have $1,000 of value, okay? There are different things that I've had from courses upon courses. I've done tons of sales training. That will be all included in the course, self-paced. Then we have our live group mastermind. So instead of doing 300 here, 300 there, you get 12 sessions over those 6 months, plus some bonus sessions. Okay. That, like I said, might suit your needs. I also will do the customized strategies. I go through those assessments, and we might do some chatting back and forth, and we make sure that that 90-day game plan with actionable goals is set. Okay. I will be on top of you guys with that. Email support, right? That's what's included in that. Education with professionals. I mean, some of these people, they're not free. I really wanted to invest in people that I know could offer you some true learning in different things that aren't automatically in our skill set as healers. Okay. So everything all together, it's not going to be $5,000, $10,000. It's $997. Okay. I am in pre-launch mode. So I do have a launch discount. I am offering anyone who is on this webinar or found me through social media and some referrals until the 15th of this month. I am offering 25% off. That's $747.50 a month. I'm not trying to do sales. You just have to run your numbers. If this investment truly doesn't make sense for you, don't do it. I don't want to put you guys into a place where you lose your house or you can't pay your rent. But if it's possible to invest this amount and do your due diligence with your budgeting, then this will make sense for you, especially if you're going from that scrounging $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month and your goal is hit 10,000. I've done it. I know you guys can do it. Okay. That's only averaging about $125 a month. Okay. Not bad. So I want to ask you guys, where does the money go? So this is a strategy that I did to start fitting in actually paying for self-care. So when I was first getting acupuncture, I didn't make a ton of money, but I found ways to skimp on other things that I saw in that budget that my money was getting lost to. And so I could start building the life that I wanted. And in that instance, it was truly feeling mentally clear, feeling physically better. A lot of you have had this experience by having holistic healing in one form of another, excuse me. And in this one, we want to keep going that trajectory. We want to keep affording our holistic healing services, and we want to start putting aside those investments. We want to start not having to check our bank account every time we spend something, right? So maybe for 90 days to 6 months, you don't go out to dinner once a week or once a month. Okay. You take off one of those planned dinners just temporarily, right? That grocery bill. Maybe you're just going through every aisle, pulling things off the shelf. You do it, cereal aisle, or let me get a chicken and a grass-fed beef. Like sometimes you just got to skimp for a short period of time. And then you can go back to your unstructured grocery bill, right? Coffee, we all do at Starbucks or Better Buzz or wherever your place is, or maybe a fancy tea. Just make it at home for 90 days. Okay. Save that money. Maybe you invest in nails and hairs. Maybe you're a big clothing spender. You end up on, what are those sites, Shein or anything. Just pause on that budget. Know that you're really the only person paying attention unless your business is around fashion. So maybe that trip can wait just 90 days to 6 months or push it out a little bit. I mean, who doesn't go on Amazon? I saw Prime Day coming. Just don't even look at it for just a short period of time. Unless you absolutely need that thing and it contributes to your daily living, for a moment, just pause on it, restructure your business, start making money you really deserve. So these things you don't even have to discuss this anymore, right? Streaming apps, ugh. Like I really had to reassess this recently. I was like, am I really watching Disney Plus? My child he doesn't even really look at the TV unless it's Miss Rachel, right? It's like, what am I throwing away this money for? So really, if money is the obstacle, which I totally understand, I've been there, take your time, go through your budget. I taught you guys how to do some budgeting and then see if this works for you. And if you connect with me and I make sense for you, great. If I don't, move on. But still keep me in mind. Just kidding. So the next step is, I get it, you might have some personal questions, you don't feel comfortable asking them on this call. Please email me again, info@drmonicacoaching.com. We can either email or we can book a 15-20 minute discovery call. I'm more than happy to start creating a bit of a light assessment on your business. And I always like to make sure that we make sense, right? I do push away business if I don't feel that I can offer something for someone. Okay. So with that said, I'm sorry I went a little over the hour. Thank you guys for showing up on this call. Sorry, I've had, I have family in the background, but I know how important your time is. So again, Thank you. Any questions? I want to do a quick Q&A before I hop off. Anyone who doesn't have a question can hop off. I did want to put the 25% link here for whoever is ready. Just because I know we only have until the 15th, and then I go back up to the $9.97 pricing. And again, even if we don't work together in the future, I hope I offered some value today, because that's all I can ask. My true desire is to, now that I'm busy with baby and I can't put my hands on every single patient, is to help you guys be the healers now. Help you step up. Take my patients, please. They need help. I'm more than happy to refer out. I really want to see you guys succeed. There, I always say, when you look out into any community and you ask everyone if they've received acupuncture, if they've received breath work, if they've done yoga, a lot of times San Diego might be a little higher, but a lot of people will say no. So it's our job to find creative and thoughtful, loving ways to market ourselves, to network ourselves, to get out there and show people that they are safe to come into our businesses, they are welcomed with loving arms into our businesses, and that we can provide our best service, because we are truly gaining the financial, that energetic exchange. It's not about just taking money, it's about creating the exchange. And trust me, people love to pay me like in my practice, because I've been thoughtful about it. You know, it's not just sales, it's truly understanding what you're doing and being intentional and coming from a good place in your heart. So with that said, any other questions? And if not, I'll let you get on with your evenings. Anything? Well, it means I covered some good stuff. All right, everyone, I will be sending out the recording in the next day or so. If you have any other questions, just email me, and take care.